Okay. So this is the Mr. Larry Hama of G.I. Joe fame. Mr. Hama, as editor on the NAM with fellow Vietnam veteran Doug Murray on those writing duties, those stories always felt so realistic, even reading them as a kid. Are there any stories you wanted to tell but didn't get to? If so, can you share what the story would have been?
Well, not really. I mean, I let Doug Murray just do what he wanted to do. I didn't want to restrict him in any way. I thought he was doing a good job. I didn't want to rain on the parade.
You are able to create those stories in a way that even somebody at my age as a kid could enjoy them. Of all the written work you've done, is there a particular single issue story or story arc you're most proud of? Same question, but for art you've done.
For what?
Of all the written work you've done, is there a particular single issue, story or story arc that you're most proud of, and then also for art?
Well, the number 21, Silent Interlude.
It was pretty awesome.
For both. Story and art. It's all one thing.
Yeah, I've been trying to track that one down forever, but I've reread the reprints, but just the original artwork, I heard a lot of people love it so much. Okay, of all your work, there was one book I came across that I found particularly interesting, and that's Barack the Barbarian. Can you tell me how you came up with the story and how the pitch process went? Because I can kind of imagine it saying like, well, you know President Obama, well, what if he was Conan the Barbarian?
Well, no, what happened was Devil's Due, what's his name, Josh at Devil's Due called me and said he wanted to do a comic about Barack Obama called, he wanted to call it Obama the Barbarian or something, and I said, well, that's silly. You should call it Barack the Barbarian. But that's all he had. He just had the title, you know, and I had to come up with everything else. You know, basically the same thing that happened with the NAM. Jim Shooter came into my office and he said, you know, I want you to do a book about Vietnam War called the NAM. And I said, well, what's it about? He says, I don't know, all I have is the title. So I had to come up with everything else, and I got Doug Murray on the team and, you know, let him loose. So that's, but a lot of these things, you know, people approach me first, and then I run with it, you know. I don't think I've ever pitched anything in my life.
Okay,
I've never written an outline.
It just seems like such a wacky concept. I thought maybe you had to have came to somebody with that concept.
Nah.
Okay, let me see.
I was fascinated by the concept once, you know, he told me about it.
And you and Herb Trimpe created Marvel's original G.I. Joe. Series ran for about 155 issues, and it survived the comic survived the original show cancellation, and it's went on to have many successful iterations like Image, IDW, numerous publishers. Now the property is at Skybound with Robert Kirkman. And you've returned for G.I. Joe issue 301 with artist Chris Mooney. Can you share how you came back to G.I. Joe and what your plans are for the Joes in coming issues?
Well, you know, Robert Kirkman called me personally and asked me to do it, and but I think it was the people at Hasbro had requested that whoever got the license, you know, consider me first. So, you know, that was an advantage.
That's awesome.
But I think they had their own best interests in mind.
Yeah, it's been pretty well received. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. There's so much buzz around it. Is there anything coming up that you're really excited for, or that I guess you can tease for fans or anything?
Well, you know, I did 155 issues of G.I. Joe at Marvel, and there was never a coming attraction because I don't know what the next issue is until I do it. I don't know what's on page 3 until I write page 2. I write everything literally page by page.
I know you say you don't do outlines, so that blew
Never
me
did
away
an
because I do outlines.
I never did an outline. I had no idea how the story's going to end until I get to the end of the story. That way, I mean, there's so many things that I read that are telegraphed. You know, I can tell, oh, you know, the butler did it, or I know the ending. You know, and I figure, what's the use of reading it if you know? So when I write, I figure that if I can surprise myself, you know, and I don't know where it's going to go until I get there, and I can't inadvertently telegraph it. Yeah. So, no, I can't tell you what's going to come because I don't know.
But that sounds really tough because I'm meticulous about planning and stuff, and just to be on the spot with that sounds really challenging. And you've been doing it for so many years.
Writing every single issue is jumping in the deep end of the pool for me. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it or where it's going to go until I get to those pages. You know, and I really don't know any other way to do it because I'm not a writer. Okay? I don't identify as a writer. I never have. I'm a penciler. You know, I think of stories as visual sequences. You know, not as words.
Is there a character that you have a story that you want to tell with that you haven't got a chance to write about yet?
Not really.
Not really? Is there a particular...
I've written so many of these things that, you know, like, I'd be hard put to find a character that I hadn't explored.
And you've been a professional artist, editor, and writer, as well as an actor. What advice can you share with creatives looking to bring comics into the world?
To bring what?
Oh, what advice would you share with other creatives who want to bring comics into the world?
Just do what you like. You know, do what your heart tells you. I mean, you know, I continued to do comics, you know, during the years when I had no work. You know, I was like blacklisted for 8 years. You know, and, but I never gave up. You know, because comics is what I do. Sooner or later, it all comes back around. You know, just keep at it. You know, if you keep jumping the ship, it gets you nowhere. You know, once I got a book to do or an assignment, I would never quit. You know, I mean, you know, people would like get a book and like do 5 issues or 10 issues. Oh, that's it. I want to go on to the next person. Nobody remembers who they are. If you do 300 issues of a book, people remember who you are.
Do you have a favorite comic book character? If so, who? Do you have a favorite G.I. Joe?
Well, my favorite G.I. Joes are my core group is Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Scarlet, and Stalker. Those are the 4 main characters as far as I'm concerned.
Actually, I like Snake Eyes' dog. But, and let me ask, I guess, last question. What single story or creator has been most influential on your work?
Somebody else's work? You talking about?
Yes, what creator is most influential on you?
Carl Barks.
I'm sorry, sir?
Carl Barks.
Carl Barks.
Uncle Scrooge.
Nice.
I've always said that G.I. Joe is basically the junior woodchucks with guns.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mr. Hama. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me, and thank you for coming to Texas.
Thank you.